Hey there, Facebook. It is Vanessa here again, your speaker, trainer, and coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I am coming to you again from beautiful Wellington. I've been exploring all day long and just about to head up the mountains here and go grab some dinner with my family and celebrate a little bit of a birthday, which is a bit of fun. But I really wanted to bring this message to you guys, which I've been meaning to for the past probably almost 2 weeks. And it was all to do with an amazing human being that I got to meet actually back in, I think it was in February when I went to a DeMartini event. And I connected with this guy who was super fascinating, and turns out that he is a neuroscientist. And anyway, I got to catch up with him about a week and a half ago, I think it was, about almost 2 weeks ago. And we had a fascinating conversation that I really want to bring to you guys today. So, and that's why today's message is all about what a neuroscientist taught me about monogamy versus non-monogamy. And so a little bit of a background, I don't know everything about this guy, but what I do know is that he actually gives talks about non-monogamy and, in fact, the neuroscience behind non-monogamy versus monogamy. So I think we all know what that is. So monogamy, having that choice of just being with one partner at the exclusion of others in an intimate relationship. Non-monogamy, I know there's different terminology out there. I'm just going to call it non-monogamy right now. And what really fascinated me was that this guy made me feel completely naive to another perspective. And so, I had so many questions. Obviously I've been in monogamous relationships my whole life, or not my whole life, but and had long-term relationships, always monogamous, never thought of anything outside of that. And for the past, I don't know what it's, I think it's nearly a year right now, I left my last long-term relationship. And probably, 11 months ago. And anyway, with this new, this year has been me studying even more in depth in terms of relationships, in terms of love, really becoming a bit of a student and a geek around these concepts. And I'm always super fascinated to hear about what works for different people, because I don't believe that there's just one way. I don't believe that it's just, everybody should just be like that, or everybody should just be like that. You've got to work out what works for you. And so I've been really fascinated in actually, talking to people who have a much different concept around relationship than I ever have. And it's been super fascinating. And I thought, who better to ask than this neuroscientist who actually travels the world communicating with groups of people around the neuroscience behind monogamy versus non-monogamy. And how he started this, he's like, what a huge question to try and get me to explain all the neuroscience behind monogamy, non-monogamy. So he did it like this, and this is what I want to challenge you guys with as well. But I won't put you under as much pressure. But he first off asked, what is the challenge with monogamous relationships? Why would they not want to select for a non-monogamous relationship? In other words, why would they not want their partner to potentially, sleep with or have intimacy with a person outside of the relationship? If you guys were here, I'd make you guess. You might want to guess now, but I'm not going to take up time waiting for you guys to guess, but have a guess. What is the biggest problem you feel non-monogamous people would think and why they wouldn't want to have their intimate partner sleeping with somebody else? So the answer is jealousy. Right? So jealousy would get in the way. We in our monogamous relationships wouldn't want our partner to be off with some other person, being intimate with them. We'd be jealous of that, right? That would create a lot of tension, a lot of jealousy in a monogamous relationship. And then he asked, okay, yeah, great. Yes, you got it. It's jealousy. But then he asked me, what is the opposite? Oh no, he said, what is the antonym of jealousy, right? And then I'm like, so that's what is the opposite of jealousy? And I thought, well, like, I was like, is it, well, I'm like, well, the opposite of jealousy, you're not happy for somebody else being happy, so I guess you're happy for them, you know. And I was like, I felt like really like stupid. I was like, how do I not know? And he's like, no, there's a word for it. That's too many words. And I was like, oh my gosh. At the time I was drinking a cider, and I never drink, and I was like, maybe this alcohol has affected my brain, because I felt so stupid. I couldn't find another answer. I couldn't find that one word in the English language. And you think a concept such as jealousy, we'd have a word for that, right? So he wouldn't tell me though. And then I was like, okay, one word. I'm like, compassion. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how can I not find what the antonym of jealousy is? I'm like, you know, and I'd guess these things. And anyway, after a while, he said, how, Vanessa, is it that you, 30-year-old, first language of English speaking woman, does not know the one word in the English dictionary or the English language that that is the opposite of such a common thread in relationship of jealousy? How do you not know that word? And mind you, and he's like, and I am Italian, nobody speaks English, a word of English in my family, and I taught myself English 12 years ago, right? And so, and I was like, oh my God, could you make me feel any more stupid, right? And anyway, and so we went through, you know, this whole kind of conversation, and I thought, this is crazy. And since this conversation, I've asked many other people who have no concept of a non-monogamous relationship. It's all about monogamy. And I've gone through and asked them the same thing, and they have the same experience. And it's kind of crazy to me. But at the end of the day, finally, when after about an hour of this kind of like trying to work it out and asking him, is this even in the dictionary? He finally told me that the opposite to jealousy is a concept called compersion. I can see you guessed it, Britt. I would expect you to know it, my friend. So compersion. And actually, I don't think it's in the English dictionary. I think this is a concept that has been brought about by the polygamous community or the non-monogamous community, because every time I try and write it, I get this autocorrect coming up. I've looked in my dictionary online and it didn't come up. So I think that's weird that we haven't had a singular word to express the antonym of jealousy. And it's such a huge concept, because if we know that the number one thing that keeps monogamous people from, going non-monogamous is the concept of jealousy, how come we don't have something else to work toward? And ultimately, compersion is the joy that you feel from watching a loved one experience their joy. And in the non-monogamous community, they go to the extreme of feeling a sense of joy by seeing your partner have joy for themselves in terms of an intimate relationship with somebody outside of you, right? So it's a pretty big concept. And actually at the time, I felt like, wow, just the way that he did that with me in that process with me, I thought, wow, we're walking around so blind and we're just following society's rules and all this sort of stuff. I've since been thinking about it even more in depth, and I'm still looking for a relationship out there that I'm like, that is what I want. And so far, I think human beings, we are super, we're not easy. We're super, complex kind of individuals, right? Who, nothing's just gonna be all perfect and roses, no matter what, right? But I'm still looking for that ideal, and I haven't quite come across it just yet. But I'm super interested in learning from people who are having these different, different ways of living. I'm looking to actually interview this guy who I'm talking to you guys about, because I think you guys would get a lot of interesting information. He's got some cool stories and cool experiences, and pretty out there, pretty crazy. And I think that we can all learn from different people who have walked different walks of life, and we can be very sheltered in our own perspectives. But I'm a strong believer that don't have an opinion on something until you've had experience with it. Get curious, and actually communicate with people who have very different perspectives than you. Otherwise, you just don't know what's actually right for you. You actually don't know what you want in this world. And I'm not convinced of the non-monogamous way of living at this point, but I'm definitely interested to learn from people that I can learn something from, who have different experiences, different perspectives, different mindsets, different belief systems. I think it's super, super fascinating, and I don't think any of us should lose that curiosity. The moment we start being judgmental and critical and, going up against other people who we haven't actually had that experience, is the moment we lose out in life, is the moment we shut down and close off from learning all that we have to learn and expanding our perspectives. I believe that, the greatest currency on this planet is your perspective. And if you don't have it, you're really missing out, and we can get so caught up in thinking our way is the right way and so threatened by different concepts and ways of being. That really scares me, because I think of it as being so limiting. So I hope that me sharing this message with you guys is of value. It's maybe kind of got you thinking outside the box about this concept of compersion. And when he said it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the word that is what I'm always explaining. My most inspired thing to see is love expressed between strangers, me just witnessing that, right? And I know this is different to, watching your love, the person that you love and are committed to, being intimate with somebody else. It's different to that, but it's still that same concept. I feel like compersion, having joy by watching others share joy is the way that I look at this word. And I'm just like, whoa, now I have a word for what inspires me at the deepest level. And I think it's super, super cool. And I think you guys can relate to that, as a human being. It's like when we watch a really inspiring movie where, the characters in the movie have an amazing breakthrough, or, everything comes into place, or whatever it is, and you get tears of inspiration. It is that concept of compersion. And I think this world could do with knowing that word, and really feeling more into that. So really hoping that this is of value to you guys. Drop me a comment, say hi, let me know, what's your belief system? What do you feel is the ideal in relationship? Are you in a monogamous or a non-monogamous relationship, and why? I think we can fall into these ways that society wants us to be without doing the research, without having the experience, without even knowing that there is another way. And I think that we should all be on this journey of, really finding out more, getting curious, learning from different people from different walks of life. So let me check in with you guys, see who's been able to join me. I'm really loving it here in Wellington. We've got some really beautiful weather, so I'm super excited about that. Got to spend some time with my beautiful little nieces and off to dinner shortly. But I've got Sam and Madeline. Hello to you, Sam. Much love to you. And Giuseppe and Adolfo. Holla. And Michela and Mia and Madeline. Thank you for your kind words. As always, beautiful. And Yvonne's here, and Sam looking relaxed and beautiful. I love it. That's good. I'm actually really tired, so I'm glad that's coming off as relaxed. I've been doing a lot of walking and actually running today. There were these weird bikes that people ride. So you get 3 people in, and you're in kind of a little cart, and these 3 young teenage girls were riding in this cart, and they dropped their wallet, and I had to chase them all the way down the water here here in Wellington. So I did a big sprint just to like get this girl her wallet. So I'm actually a bit exhausted from everything I've been doing today. So thanks, Sam, making me feel better with the relaxed. And Marco's here, and Kadri, and Ray, and Britt, and Lucy, and hello to you, Mia, and Jody, and Karan, and Kadek, and Shelley. Awesome to see you. And Sam, love the way you're life student for many things, the guinea pig for amazing experiments. Absolutely. I feel super grateful. And that's what I explain what I do to people. I always say, well, I pretty much travel around, going to a lot of personal development events and things, and just studying and learning and using myself as a guinea pig so I can help fast track the success of others and simplify the tools and everything that I find most valuable. So I love that, Sam. Absolutely. And Simon from Mexico, beautiful. I had a Mexican waiter a couple of nights ago who was super, super cool. Inspired me. I really want to get to Mexico. And Linda and Rim, and yes, you got it, Britt. Compersion. I want to talk more to you, my friend. And I'm sorry I can't read your name. You're from Thailand, and I love having you here. Awesome. I love that we connect from all parts of the globe. So cool. And Melissa and Moises. Well, thank you for your kind words there, Moises. Always appreciate you. And San and Elliot and Kerry. Hi, Elliot. And Simone and Tanya and Sam. Ideal relationship. What kind are you looking for? That's a really great question, Sam. I'm still trying to figure that out. So far, what I have had in the past is what I do not want ever again. Isn't that funny? So I think that as we go through life, it's been my experience and the experience of many people that I work with and connect with, is that as we go through our journey of life and maybe we leave relationships behind, whether they're friendships or they're intimate relationships, whatever they are, we tend to upgrade constantly. So each relationship tends to be an upgrade on the last. And I feel like that's just never going to end. So that excites me. But in terms of relationship, you guys have heard me say time and time again that love equals freedom. I definitely believe that. If there's any form of control, if it lowers your self-esteem in any way, if it limits your true authentic expression in any way, then that is not love. That is control. That's leading towards codependency. And ultimately, I don't know if it's possible yet because I haven't actually had this experience in my life, but my belief around relationship is something that absolutely we both support and challenge each other to reach new heights of our potential. We do not let each other settle, but we're each other's raving fans, that's the kind of dynamic that would get me over the line in terms of relationship. But I'm absolutely in no rush whatsoever. I believe that, we need to be fully happy within ourselves. And I feel so happy within myself. I'm just really enjoying it. This is the first period of my life where I've actually been single and loving it. I've always been in a long-term relationship, and so I've never really had that experience of just being really great and comfortable in my own skin and just loving that. And I think that when you have a taste of serious freedom and just have the ability to be all of who you are, there is no way in hell I will ever give that up. And in the past, I've always given that up, and so my concept of relationship had felt like I have to give up that freedom of being all of who I am. And, and that's absolutely not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is absolute true freedom and adoration, where two individuals come together and their lives are great, they're on purpose, they're in power, but to come together that enhances each other's lives, not to come together and just not be able to be inseparable, but actually enhance each other's lives, where, we can be great on our own, but we can even be better together. That's what I'm looking for. And anyway, I could talk all day about it, but I haven't fully discovered it, and I don't know if what I'm looking for exactly is possible. But where I'm at right now, I couldn't be happier. You know, I'm definitely not looking, but I'm still open to everything that comes my way. Absolutely. And always appreciate your questions, Sam, and T2, and Billy, and Maggie, and Kenneth, and Stefan, and Tanya, and Moises. I believe in monogamous relationship, but I'm single. Yeah, absolutely. And, it's hard to kind of put your mind around a non-monogamous relationship if you're like me and you've never experienced that. But I'm always happy to learn from others. And even if you don't take that route of, say, a non-monogamous relationship, I'm a big believer in learning about the concepts that work for them. See, for me, learning about the concept of compersion, I can take that into a monogamous relationship and be super happy with that, right? But I think that the point is we have to not put people in a box and think that's not going to work for me, or that is only going to work for me. And instead, we need to get curious and learn from others and pick and choose the pieces that are going to work for us and mold our own kind of relationship. I think I'm about to, really just start molding a kind of relationship that may not even exist right now, or I don't know about it, but I'm going to pick and choose the different things that just absolutely resonate with me, and never, ever, ever settle. Like I know, Moises, you're saying you're single, right? Be happy with where you're at, and you probably are. But, just be super happy and focus on building yourself up and stay open to the possibility of something extraordinary. I don't think many of us have great role models out there. And so we end up going with the norm, but it's mediocrity instead of what's extraordinary. I'd much rather hold out for something extraordinary, and have a mindset of abundance, not get caught up in scarcity. Like you come across somebody and you think, oh, nobody's going to love me like them, but I know it's not quite right, but whatever, I don't want to be alone. That's like death. That scares the hell out of me, to have that kind of mindset. And so I absolutely have such an abundant mindset in this realm, and I think it's so powerful to have that abundance and not feel like you have to settle at the first sight of somebody who shows interest. That really upsets me when I see people, stay trapped in relationships that they know aren't right for them, just because they don't want to be alone. That is seriously imprisonment of your own. So yeah, absolutely. And Shafika, oh, sorry if I butchered your name. It's totally dependent on a good heart and soul. Absolutely. So beautifully put. That's wonderful. And Anton's here. And Sam, I'm in open relationships, which I love. I learn a lot and growth is phenomenal. Want to study you a little bit, Sam, and fascinate over you and ask you a bunch of questions. So for me, this is the thing that I picked up on. So after I had that conversation with this neuroscientist, I was like mind blown. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so naive. I didn't even know about this concept, and I felt like, oh my God, we're in this societal box, right? But then I kind of started thinking more, and I'd want to ask this guy many, many more questions. I asked him quite a few, but for me, there's nothing more beautiful than having somebody that you can go super deep with. I'm all about the depth of connection, and I don't know if he experiences that. I don't know. I'm not him, and I asked him a lot of questions around that, but I'm still not kind of sold in terms of if that would be what I'd want, and I think that that's really interesting. The whole concept of open relationships, it depends on your concept of intimacy. What your belief system is around intimacy, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we'd go down. But to me, that's really going the depths of love with somebody. And I don't know, but my perspective is that I think that we have, say we have a limited amount of energy that we can direct in any direction we so choose. My perspective has always been, wouldn't I rather direct all that energy into this person that I love, you know, that I want to go really seriously deep with, that I want to grow and evolve with in all realms of life, rather than disperse it in 10 different directions, you know? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm still seriously seeking people who have really got what I want, and I haven't quite found them just yet. And so I'd love to pick your brain on that, Sam. That's super, super cool. Love it. Thanks for sharing. And Oscars. Hi, Vanessa. The Mastery of Love is an awesome book about love and relationships. Awesome, Oscars. Thanks for sharing, my friend. The Mastery of Love. I will pick that one up. Awesome. And it's awesome that you're joining me live. So, so cool. And Aaron and David and Moises, you're invited to Mexico. Love it. I can't wait to get to Mexico. Sorry, I've got this sticky thing that I'm like putting on the window. It was bound to fall off at any moment. But that's so cool of you. Moises, thank you so, so much, my friend. And where am I? And Rayul's here, and Jeremy, and Moises. I think you'll be my ideal mate in relationship, Vanessa, according to your belief system about relationships. I appreciate your kind words there, Moises. Yes, you know, we've got to be more thoughtful about our concept around relationships, absolutely. And that's a very kind compliment that you've given me. And Shafika, nice to meet you. I am from Bangladesh. You are talking very valuable topics about relationship. Now, a faithfully relationship is very important to do laid a beautiful life. Well, I love that this today's message is resonating with you, Shafika. I don't know why it's gone so bright, but that's awesome to have you here from Bangladesh, and I love that that's an interesting concept around relationships. And Moises, I think I read that. Whoops. And thanks, Moises. And Sergio, nice to have you. And Sam, yes, you look really happy and free by yourself, and bloom lots of beauty and love. Oh, thank you, Sam. I always appreciate your beautifully kind words. And Moises, yes, I'm happy to be single. I don't have an attachment to a person in a romantic way, but I want a girlfriend like you. Thank you, Moises. That is super kind of you. I appreciate that, my friend. And I love that you're happy to be single right now. Love that. I don't know why my screen is so bright, but I look like the moon or something. But I appreciate that, Moises. And Paul, hello to you, and Marcin, and Carly, and Yabez. And thank you, Moises. So, guys, really, that was my message for you. I hope that me sharing what this amazing individual shared with me and challenged me with, I really hope that that resonates with you guys, and this has been a cool, different kind of concept to talk to you guys about. I've wanted to talk to you guys about it for a couple of weeks, so I'm glad that I could finally get it out. And definitely really always appreciate you guys joining me live. I better take off because my family's waiting for me. I'm getting kind of hungry, so we'll go and enjoy dinner out with my beautiful nieces and my brother and his wife, and it's her birthday, so it'll be fun to celebrate some more. And as always, guys, I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you, to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary, and I so appreciate each and every one of you guys joining me live and contributing to the conversation today. You guys absolutely rock. And thank you so much, Moises, and loving that this is a beautiful share for you. Sam, you're a superstar. And Ulas, thank you so much for joining. I hope you catch the recording and get a ton of value from today's message. I'm signing off, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Much, much love.